I believe democracy is not the best form of government for Africa, and I would propose that African countries adopt dictatorship. I don't believe in a dictatorship where citizens' rights and freedoms are, let me say, restricted, are undermined. But I believe in a democracy, a dictatorship that respects the rights and freedoms of citizens. Why do I support a dictatorship? I support a dictatorship form of government because the democracy that we knew was the golden standard of ruling African countries has failed Africa. Democracy has plunged African countries into extreme poverty. But I propose the form of dictatorship that Muammar Gaddafi used in Libya. Remember, Muammar Gaddafi was considered a dictator by the West and foreign countries. But the same Muammar Gaddafi was a hero in his country. During the time of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya was considered one of the wealthiest and one of the richest infrastructurally developed countries in Africa, if not in the world. Why? Because Muammar Gaddafi restricted Libya's resources to Libya. He ensured that Libyan resources, profits from the sale of oil, were used to improve the lives of Libyans. He used profits from the sale of oil to build hospitals, to build schools, construct roads, and provide social support to Libyans. This is the form of dictatorship that I propose. This is the form of leadership that I think Africa needs. Africa needs a dictatorship that will regulate the corruption levels in the government. A dictatorship that if a leader is found corrupt, such a leader is barred from vying from political office and such a leader is prosecuted. Not a democracy that gives corrupt leaders the opportunity to prove to citizens and the world how they are moral, but in the real sense they are corrupt and stole public resources. I propose a dictatorship because it gives leaders the opportunity to confine development within their national borders, not a democracy that gives leaders, few individuals, the authority to make foreign policies and sell their countries to foreign governments. For example, my country Kenya is currently openly working with foreign governments, embracing foreign policies blindly, while the majority of citizens are suffering. My country Kenya is embracing bromance with the likes of the United States, the likes of France, United Kingdom, and the rest, while citizens are suffering. This is the result of democracy. This is the leeway given by democracy. But in a dictatorship, diplomatic relations with foreign governments like the United States will be regulated. Muammar Gaddafi maintained a strict foreign policy, strict foreign engagement. In fact, he disallowed Libya's engagement with the likes of United States for a very long time because he knew that these foreign countries, they come to your country, they love your country simply for the resources. Once you are incapable of providing them with the resources, you will be unnecessary. I want to say that dictatorship is preferred in countries like Congo because such a leadership will bar countries like the United States, China, and the rest from extorting the natural resources in the country while not focusing on issues affecting the people. For example, when you take the Democratic Republic of Congo, it is embroiled in a protracted war in which the biggest victims are civilians. But that's no problem for the West. That's not a problem for the United States. That's not a problem for China. That's not a problem for Russia. As long as the supply of cobalt and coltan continues to flow and power their smartphones, smart cars and smart homes, the United States, China, and Russia and many other foreign governments will be in DR Congo. They are not interested in bringing back peace. They are not interested in protecting civilians. They are interested in extracting natural resources. I urge African countries and I urge African revolutionaries to adopt the dictatorship form of government that Muammar Gaddafi used. Muammar Gaddafi used a dictatorship form of government that emphasized development to the people. Development to the people. The construction of hospitals to the people. Bringing medicine into the hospitals and doctors to the people. Perfecting education, building roads, building houses, and ensuring a corruption-free government. This is the form of dictatorship that I propose. I don't propose a dictatorship that kills political opponents. I don't propose a form of dictatorship that restricts the rights and freedoms of citizens, but I propose a dictatorship that respects and upholds the rights and freedoms of individual citizens, a dictatorship that emphasizes and promotes development for the people. That is the form of dictatorship that I propose, and I strongly criticize against the use of democracy in African countries, because for a long time now African countries have relied on democracy, and democracy has failed African countries. Democracy has embroiled African countries in a protracted wave of poverty, protracted wave of suffering, and protracted wave of underdevelopment. I don't propose the democracy, and this is why I propose that African countries adopt a dictatorship, and it is high time that African countries rethink and re-examine democracy.